Greetings, lovely people. It's Chloe OG. How are you today? Well, I hope you are healthy and doing great. Anyway, this video is a collab with my classmates Daryl J and Heidi May. Please show them some love as well. So, without further ado, let's get on to the discussion. Plant anatomy and plant physiology have a meaningful connection with each other. But first, what is plant anatomy and plant physiology? Plant anatomy is about the structure of a plant, its roots, leaves, flower, stems, fruit, anything that describes what a plant is. While plant physiology is the process of how a plant is living and interacting with its surroundings, like its phytochemistry, cellular interactions, molecular and cell biology, plant morphology, and environmental interactions. Both connect with one another because without plant anatomy, there will be no physiology, and if there is no process that is occurring, then that only means there are no factors that will start the process. In a plant, there are major parts. These are the roots, stems, leaves, and flowers. But wait, we shall discuss it further and deeper. The parts of the plant are divided into two categories, the shoot system and the root system. To understand what a shoot system and root system is, bear in mind that the shoot system goes upwards and that the root system goes downwards, meaning the shoot system is above the soil and that the root system is beneath the soil. Now, what are the parts that consist of the shoot system? These are the flower, leaves, fruit, and stem. The flower of a plant is the one responsible for reproduction, but bear in mind, plants that have flowers are the only ones that are capable of reproduction through pollination. This means the plant is sexual. Plants that don't have any flowers are asexual, meaning they don't reproduce through pollination, but through binary fission, vegetative propagation, budding, spore formation or sporogenesis, fragmentation, marketing, and the like. Did you know that there are flowers called the perfect or bisexual flower, imperfect or unisexual flower, complete and incomplete flower? Perfect flower or bisexual flower has both the stamen and pistils in it, or the male and female parts, which makes them capable of self-reproduction. Imperfect flower or unisexual flower has either the stamen or pistil but not both. Complete flowers have sepals, pistils, petals, and stamens. The opposite is the incomplete flower, which means it lacks a part of what a complete flower has. Imperfect flowers are always incomplete, but incomplete flowers may or may not be imperfect. Now, the leaves of the plant are the ones responsible for performing photosynthesis. They are the ones that are capable of taking carbon dioxide and water from the air and soil with the help of the light of the sun into their leaves. Also responsible for evaporation to move more water to the roots, and the exchange of carbon dioxide to oxygen. If you want a deeper explanation about photosynthesis, then I will link a video in the description box. It is also one of the videos under my botany series, so go check it out. The fruit of the plant are the ones that are responsible for protecting the seeds for reproduction. Did you know that any vegetable that you think is a vegetable that contains seeds are not vegetables? They are actually fruits, just like the eggplant, tomato, pumpkin, anything that has seeds in it. So, any edible part of the plant is classified as a vegetable except the fruit. Fun fact! The last part of the shoot system is the stem. Besides supporting the plant, the stem is the one responsible for delivering the minerals and water from the soil. and then converted into byproducts through photosynthesis, then transported to the leaves and other parts of the plants, including the roots. This leads us to tackle the root system next. So what are the parts that consist of the root system? Well, from the word root itself, the root system consists of the roots. Of course, the root also has parts like the primary root, lateral roots, the apical meristem, a root cap, and root hairs, but we are focusing on the root system here. Okay, so since the stem is the one responsible for delivering the minerals and water, who do you think is the one responsible for absorbing these? Yes, you guessed it right. It's the roots. They are responsible for absorbing the minerals and waters from the soil and then are passed on to the stem and so on. So, if you water a plant with poison in it, then the plant will definitely die. Obviously. I'm just giving a very understandable explanation. In the stem, there are two responsible for carrying out water, nutrients, and food for the plant's life. These are the xylem and the phloem. The xylem is a plant tissue that carries the water and minerals upward to the plant. The phloem, on the other hand, also a plant tissue, carries glucose from the leaves to the roots, which is downwards. This process is called transportation. So yes, xylem and phloem are the transport systems in a plant. This happens in the vascular bundles of a plant, which exist differently in every plant. The xylem and phloem form a continuous tube like a row in a plant, where it runs inside the whole plant because, of course, they are responsible for transportation. Anyway, xylem vessels have a woody material in their walls called the lignin and are made of elongated dead cells which make plants hard to pull out from the ground, or when pulled out, they are intact because the vascular bundles are in the center, making them tough. If xylem vessels are made of elongated dead cells, the phloem is the opposite. They are made of living cells, transporting sucrose and amino acids upwards and downwards inside a plant, which depends on which part of the plant they are needed. Xylem vessels only go in one way, which is upwards, from the roots to the leaves, because of the transpiration pull which makes the water evaporate from the leaves. Phloem uses active transportation, making them capable of delivering glucose and sucrose in opposite ways.
Hi everyone! Good day! By the way, my name is Daryl J. Imperado, 19 years old, taking up Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, major in Agronomy. So, alright, let's move on to number 5. That is, what is annual growth ring? Each year, the tree form a new cells arranged in a concentric circles. That is what we call the annual rings or annual growth rings. These annual rings show the amount of a wood produced during one growing season. Growth rings are visible as concentric circles of varying width when tree is cut crosswise. So number 6, describe the internal structure of the leaf. First is the epidermal cells. Epidermal cells include several types of cells that make up the epidermis of plants. Although they serve as the number of important functions, their primary role is to protect from a variety of harmful factors, including microbes, chemical compounds, as well as ultraviolet light, among others. So next is palisade cells. Palisade cells are plant cells located in the leaves, right below the epidermis and cuticle. In a simpler terms, they are known as leaf cells. So third is the spongy mesophyll. Spongy mesophyll is a mesophyll tissue comprising cells of a irregular shape, some of them lobed, separated by the large spaces in which the atmosphere is humid. Spongy mesophyll is the site of a gaseous exchange for photosynthesis and respiration. So next is the stomata. Stomata, also called as stomate, is a pore found in the epidermis of leaves, stems, and other organs that controls the rate of gas exchange. The pore is bordered by a pair of a specialized parenchyma cells known as guard cells that are responsible for regulating the size of the stomatal opening. And then, the next is the guard cells. Guard cells are specialized plant cells in the epidermis of leaves, stems, and other organs that are used to control gas exchange. They are produced in pairs with a gap between them that forms a stomatal. So number 7, what is the role of photosynthesis in plants and why is it important? So plants are autotrophs, which means that they produce their own food. They use the process of a photosynthesis to transform water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide into oxygen and simple sugars that the plant uses as fuel. These primary producers from the base of an ecosystem and fuel the next trophic levels. So photosynthesis is important on plants because it allows them to make a glucose which is needed to make energy and cellular structure. So that's all.
Good day, this is Heidi Miss Kalimpon, a BS Agriculture student from Norso Pamplona campus. And I'm going to answer number 8, number 9, and number 10. So question number 8. Explain the water movement of plants. So, for the survival of a multicellular organisms, all of its cells must work together while performing their own special functions. This leads us to the vascular system, which also called the transport system. It consists of specialized cells whose job is to supply other cells with nutrients and remove waste. So the vascular system in plants consists of vascular bundles, which contain xylem, phloem, and cambium tissue. The xylem tissue transport water and mineral ions using the cohesion tension theory, which explains the movement of water and mineral ions from the roots towards the leaves of the plant. We have to keep in mind that the movement of water through plants is a passive process. Passive process, that is, it requires no energy input from the plant. Because of this, the plant can control where the water goes, and water can only move from the roots toward the leaves of the plant. Now we will zoom the section of the root. So this is the root tissue, the vascular tissue containing xylem, the water molecule, and the soil. So water moves from the surrounding soil into the xylem in the roots by the process called osmosis. Osmosis refers to the movement of water across the semi-permeable membrane, but the water didn't just go wherever it wants. It needs balance, and to achieve this, water will only move from high water concentration, which is in the soil, to low water concentration, which is the roots. The roots have a low water concentration and the soil has a high water concentration. So the water moves across into the roots, and then the water will passively diffuse from area of high water concentration, which is in the roots, towards area of low concentration, which is in the leaves. So, once the water is inside the plant, the four main mechanisms which is responsible for transporting it from the xylem in the roots towards the leaves are the root pressure, the adhesion, cohesion, and the transpiration pool. Question number 9. What are the factors needed for plant growth? So there are 5 factors needed for plant growth. They are the nutrients, water, oxygen, temperature, and light. So first is the nutrients. A sustained supply of essential nutrients is necessary for growth. If plants get sufficient nutrients, they'll grow fast. But if plants don't get nutrients in sufficient quantity, their growth will cease or stop. So a sustained supply of nutrients for plants is important. Oxygen. Plants need oxygen for respiration. Water. Plants need water for all the metabolic activities, for all the cellular reactions, whether it is catabolism or anabolism, or any activity is done on water. Temperature. The ideal temperature to grow plants would be 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, but it is depending upon the place. The last is the light. It is essential for further growth of plants is influenced by the intensity or the amount of light and the duration of light. Light does not directly affect the plant growth, but the intensity of light, the quality of light, the place where the plant is kept, and the duration of light affects the plant growth. Now we will go to the last question. Give at least 5 growth hormones and discuss each. Hormones are chemical messengers synthesized at one location that delivers messages to a different location. So there are 5 growth hormones. Auxin. It is the hormone that allows plants to bend towards the light. This is called phototropism. Auxin synthesized at stem tips, travels downward, and if removed stem tip, plant loses ability to grow towards the light. Gibberellins. They are important in several stages of plant development. They are required for plant to germinate, and they also promote elongation of internodes. Cytokinin. It counters senescence in plants. It is also important in making new plant organs, aka roots versus shoots. This hormone is produced in the root apical meristem, in other words, the tip of roots. The plant uses the ratio of auxin versus cytokinin to determine if it should form roots or shoots. More auxin promotes the formation of roots. More cytokinin promotes the formation of shoots. This also works with ethylene to cause the abscission of leaves, flowers, and fruits. Next is ethylene, the magical ripening hormone, more produced by rapidly growing and dividing cells. This is important in germinating plants, prevents leaf expansion. It also allows shoot to dig upward through the soil until it reaches the light. Fifth is the abscisic acid. It signals dehydration. It makes leaves close their stomata to prevent water loss through phototranspiration.
Before I end this video, I just want you all to know that this YouTube channel is for school purposes only, but if you want to see me more in the future, then feel free to comment down below your topic suggestions, and I will learn them and share them with everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell so you will be updated by future videos. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, and I'll see you in my next video.